Once you've got a solid design on your yearbook spreads, you're ready to consider polish, how you can use font and color to really make them sing. Our first target that we're looking at is P23 font. At the 1 level, you'll make sure that your caption and copy font are size 10, that's just one of our conventions, and that your headline font is larger, in fact, much larger. At the 2 level, you follow all of our font rules. You've got your size 10 Helvetica or Times for your copy font, and your headline font is not Helvetica or Times. At the 3 level, you can choose a font that complements the spread, and you can follow all of our font rules. Still that size 10, headline font, not Helvetica. And what this means is that the font that you choose meets the content of the page well. At the 4 level, you're also incorporating theme. Okay, and quite frankly, we'll be choosing a certain set of fonts to use with our theme. So when we talk about meeting theme, it's going to naturally, really, we're looking at your theme proposal and how well you choose fonts for the theme proposal to match the theme that you choose when we talk about that. For P24, we're looking at color. At the 1 level, you can use color on your spread. Hey, that's great, right? We are a full color yearbook, so there's no reason not to have some kind of color on there. Make sure you're including it. At the 2 level, you can use the color wheel to choose complementary colors for your spread. At the 3, you can choose those colors to complement images and page design, and you also have section colors if we choose to go that route this year. That could change. At the 4 level, use color to complement images and page design and theme. There it is again. And you incorporate section colors. So we'll talk font first. When we're considering font, one rule that you always want to remember is that any copy font, and that's going to be your stories and captions, okay, any of that has to be size 10. That's going to feel very small to you when you're working on online design, but you'll want to remember that the page that you look at on the screen is smaller than how it will actually print. Size 10 is what is traditionally used in all yearbooks. So we're not doing anything new or tricky here. That's just the convention that we choose to follow, and that allows us to get more information on the page than if we use size 12, which you might consider standard for an essay, right? So size 10, and Helvetica or Times will be based on the theme that we choose. Helvetica tends to lend itself to more modern themes. Times is a more traditional style of font because it has a serif, or it has little marks that come off the side, like so. See, you call these serifs, little extra marks that hang off of a letter. Okay. Now your headline fonts are going to vary based on theme and subject of spread. So typically what will happen is with each theme we'll choose 3 to 4 headlines that match the theme and offer a serious and a more lighthearted approach to interpreting the theme. That allows us to take those fonts and apply them to our spreads. So if you have a lighthearted spread, you might go with a lighthearted font. If you have a more serious spread, you'll go with a serious font from the theme selection. In that way, your fonts are going to be matched to both the theme and the content of the spread that they're being used on. And we do that to help build the tone of the spread and of the whole yearbook. Now, if we look at these examples, we can see that here we've got a spread on homecoming. You could have part of it, but you can see In a New Light is a more lighthearted font. We've got some curves going on here. We've got no serif over here, and we're using color here as well to make that very lighthearted. On our next one, we've got some serif. You can see that there are some notches on that, on that L and the T. So that's a serif font that tends to lend itself more toward being a very serious font, more traditional and old-fashioned, if you want to think of it that way, font for a very serious spread about distinguished people within the school. For our final example here, we don't have any serif. We've got Coded in School Pride, but you'll notice too that there's nothing fancy about this particular font. So this is a nice kind of in-between point of our very serious distinguished lines and our very lighthearted In a New Light. Coded in School Pride is a nice in-between or serious for this particular book, given that the rest of their choices were a little bit more lighthearted. Colors the other way. We can add some polish to our spreads. And there are 2 different approaches to using color in a yearbook spread. The first is complementary color, and it's mentioned at the level 2 here, but if we choose not to have section colors this year, this could be incorporated into a 3 and 4 as well. So when we talk about using complementary colors, we're talking about choosing a color that matches the dominant color in the pictures on your spread. You can partner the primary color with a secondary color on the opposite side of the color wheel. For example, if there's a lot of blue going on in your picture, or for our school, maybe more likely, some yellow, let's say we invest in some yellow DHS shirts this year, we might choose yellow as a color to use for a lot of the color around that. Perhaps part of the headline is in yellow. At the same time, time, we can create some contrast by using the exact opposite and also include some blue in smaller ways to create some interest with color on the spread. The other approach to using color within the yearbook is thematic, and this is traditionally what we have used at Dansville. For thematic color, you'll choose a color family to match the theme of the yearbook, or your yearbook proposals as we go. And then you'll choose primary colors for each section within the yearbook. So I've got two examples here for you. For example 1, this was the 2016-17 book, Moving in a New Direction. And because that year was very much grounded in the new building coming and we're getting ready to say goodbye to our current building, we chose to go with the DHS colors. So the entire book was done in black and gold and then grays to help give it a bit more distinction and give some more variety. In previous years, we did a theme called The Next Generation, very science-y, space-agey, and we went with a lot of bright colors. And as far as then each section went, and there wasn't necessarily a method to this madness, we might choose blue for people, and we might choose green for clubs, and then those colors would be the primary colors you would see used within that section to indicate that that was a part of the section, so creating unity within the section. And then you can still use those complementary colors with that, so you'd have the blue that everyone was using, but you might choose a varying shade of gold to help complement it. Further considerations when choosing your colors, and this will apply to if we choose to go with color families this year or if we choose to do complementary color and you're making individual choices about your spreads, we can talk about colors in different ways, right? There are warm tones of colors and there are cool tones of colors. So if we look over here on the color wheel, these sets of colors tend to be warmer, right? They have a more friendly feel when you're looking at them. Cooler colors are going to have a cooler feel to them, right? We're a little bit less emotional, more logic-based. Even within that, though, you can have cool and warm. So if you look at this example, you've got cooler blues and you've got warmer blues. Why does this matter? Well, it depends on the subject of your yearbook spread, right? If you've got a spread that's about some very emotional event that occurred, you're probably going to want a warmer color to help build up the emotion and the tone of that spread. If you are just trying to convey facts, then you're going to go with a cooler tone to help keep the emotion out of it. You might also, though, consider the connotations of colors, right? Research has shown that colors can bring about certain emotions in people, and so we might consider that in our work. Blue is a common color for many reasons. Quite frankly, it really does give an impression of strength and stability. You're dependable, you're confident. Red is often associated with passion or anger. It could be as well. So you might think about the different meanings of colors as you're choosing colors for your color family, for your theme proposal, or for your work within your yearbook spreads. Here are some examples of how colors have been used in other yearbooks. This example, I don't have other pieces to show you, but I can tell you this was a section color. So this was an academic section, and they used the same shade of blue in their academic section. They had the bar over here to indicate that it was all part of that same section, and then they used it underneath their headline as well, some repetition there. So that's commonly how you would see color used to indicate section. It'll play some similar role across the entire section. But you can, again, also draw from photography. So if you take a look over here, this blue is really mirroring all the blues that are taking place in this particular picture. Here, we've got a bit more variety. This is actually a blue. You can see that better in a larger shot. But it matches the blue shades that are here, and then we've got the yellow that matches the yellow shades that are here, pulled even on the font. So it doesn't have to be color boxes or borders. In fact, I'd recommend against borders. They tend to make a chunkier feeling spread. You can use it for your words, you can use it in lines just to accent things and have a really good effect with your use of color.